So I welcome you all to the one day free seminar on things to not do during PhD. It's really important to be aware of the things that can go wrong while you are doing your PhD. So it's really important to be aware of the things or of the mistakes, as it will not only help you to save yourself from doing those, but will also reduce their effects on your lives. So the kind of mistakes that a researcher can make during PhD, I have grouped them into three parts. One is the personal, the academic, and the financial. So we'll talk about all of them one by one. So coming on to the personal level mistakes. So the first mistake is to doubt yourself. See, you are capable of doing this work. Okay, you just have to trust yourself. You have come so far. See, you have come so far. You just did your 10th, 12th, your bachelor's, then your masters, and now you are doing your PhD. You have done so much in your life. You have done so many things. You have did now. You were able to do all of those things. So you have you have what it takes to do this work. So you are capable of doing this work also, that is there right in front of you. It's okay to take time. It's okay to do it at a slower speed, but just don't doubt yourself that you cannot do this work. You can do, you will be able to do in a lot more better way than the others. So just don't doubt yourself. Okay. The second mistake is comparing your PhD timeline with others. See, it's totally fine if you are working at a slower speed than others. It's totally fine if you are taking a longer time to do a specific task than the others. It's totally fine as long as you are learning something. It's okay to take time. See, journey. See, PhD is a journey. It is not a sprint race that you have to finish faster than the others. It is a whole lot journey which goes for around 3 to 5 years. So it's okay to take time. It's okay to be slower until and unless you are learning something. If you are actually going to learn something, it's okay to take time. You have done fantastic till now, and you will excel in the future also. Just trust yourself. Never compare. Like you just don't think it like this, that person has did this work in this time and I am taking so much time. So just don't think like this. It's okay to take time. Okay. The next mistake is measuring the success by the number of journals or H-index. See, your success is measured by how you did, or how better or how worse you did than yesterday. Okay. It's okay to take even 3 years to publish one research paper. It's okay. It's okay to take time to finish, as long as you learn, as long as there is something new that's coming up in your field, as long as there is something that you are learning. It's okay to take time. Okay. So don't measure your success by the number of journals. Oh, that guy has these many journal papers, I have this much less. It's totally fine. You both have your own lives. You don't need to just go on and compare. Okay. The fourth mistake is to keeping silent. When till the time when we reach a PhD, we have this thing in our mind that okay, now we are so much mature, so we need to keep our things to ourselves. we don't need to share them, right? So just don't think like this. Don't, just don't think like this. It's totally fine. It's, you need to talk, talk about your insecurities. We might sometime face such things that we cannot understand, or face such things that about which we do not know what to do. Okay, it's, just talk about them, talk about your fears. Just don't be silent, because if you will keep all this inside you, it can harm you in so many ways. You can talk to them about, you can talk about these with your friend, with any stranger. If you're talking about these to a friend, then that friend will understand you and guide you about these things. If you will talk all of these things with a stranger, so a stranger anyhow does not know you, right? So he will not have any big impact on this, so it will be fine. So just talk about this. Every human needs to vent those things out that you are going through. We need to talk about those things. We need to let those things out from ourselves. If you are so introvert, like if you feel that I'm a big introvert, I cannot talk to anybody or something like this, then you can try to write a diary. A diary will help you a lot. Just write those things in a diary and just burn it. Burn, like whatever, throw it in the fire. I'm not sure if this works or not, but if it does, just try and tell me also. So just don't be silent. Okay, if you feel something, if you are going through something, just tell about it, just speak up about it, right? Now we'll just come on to some of the academic level mistakes. So the first is trying to learn things which are not relevant to your thesis work. While we are doing a PhD, we get exposed to a lot of things, and some things which might be useful for you, some things might not be useful for you. A very good example of all of this is like online courses, hands-on workshop, expert lectures. So you may get chance to go through all of this. You will get a chance through all of this, but you have to decide, because it's your time. You have to decide that whether you have to give time to this particular thing or not, right? So you have to decide this thing. So what you can do in this case, that instead of just enrolling for every course that you see or you come across, you just need to analyze what, that whether this course, you just need, or you can just analyze the outcomes of the course. Or you can analyze the course contents, that the things that will be taught in this course, are they actually useful for you or not. Just analyze those things, and from the course contents, the things will be taught in the course and the outcomes of the course, if you feel that even one of those things will be useful for your thesis work, then you can for sure go towards them and enroll in that course and learn from it. But just don't go and try to learn everything that comes in your way. Learn only those things which are useful for your thesis work, which will help you in your work. The second is trying to publish a lot of research papers. See, when we are in our PhD, we get so many options like conferences, some journals. We get a chance to publish so many papers. But I tell you what, merely increasing the number of publications will not help you to get your thesis done, to get your PhD done. Okay, in order to complete your PhD, you might need to publish 2 or 3 research papers in the SCI or Scopus Index journals. Just try to fulfill that thing. Just try to do that thing. If you are able to do that, it's more than enough. Even fulfilling that criteria is going to be a Hercules task for you. So just don't try to publish a lot of papers. Just do what is needed for your PhD thesis. Try to do it in a nice way, and that's enough. Don't try to publish a lot of them. The third is taking too long to submit the first manuscript. You know, somebody was asking me that I have not written even one paper. How do I start? So just write whatever is in your mind. Just put it in on the paper, on the pen and paper. See the ideas in your mind and the ideas on that pen and paper. It is a very long journey. Just do that. Just prepare the first draft and you see, and then think, okay, this is the first draft. Now how can I improve this first draft? Okay, just write the first draft. I tell you, usually in order to write the first draft, it takes a time for around 2 to 3 months. Then one more month goes, as your supervisor will then check your paper and tell you some corrections. So all in all, it takes 4 months to get your first manuscript to be ready for submission to any journal or something. So don't take that too long. Try to do it. Try to submit the first manuscript as fast as possible. Don't take too long for that. Okay. Now the fourth one. Only reading, not writing side by side. I tell you, this is one of the biggest mistakes that most of the researchers do. They only read or they only perform the experiments and they don't write. I tell you what, since the day you have started your PhD, you need to maintain a habit of writing every day for at least 30 minutes, because this will prepare you for that big battle of thesis writing. So in order to prepare for that big thing of thesis, when you have to write that, you need to create a habit of writing every day. So I will suggest you to write at least 30 minutes every day. So what you can do in order to practice that, what you need to write every day. So the first thing is that you can write a short summary of the paper that you have just read. You know, this will help you. Or you can write about the experimental procedure of whatever work that you are doing. You can write the extracts of the meetings that you had with your supervisor, or you can write about the important understandings of the results. So you can try any of these four in order to develop your practice of writing every day. Now, how this will help you? How this thing will help you? As your next research paper is just going to be an organized collection all of these everyday writings. See, when you will be writing about your results, when you will be writing about your procedure every day, so when the next time you have to write your paper, then you have to just organize all of those things and make it in the form of a research paper. So it is going to make your work easy. And the second thing, it will help you remember the small of the details about your setup and your results. So the next time when you will go to talk to your supervisor about these things, so you will have all of these things in your mind afresh. So you will be able to talk about them in a very nice way, and it will also give you a chance to explore the other aspects of your work. See, you are doing a work, you are doing this work in a specific way. So when you will write about it, you will have this idea that okay, this work can also be thought with this angle. So it will open up more of the exploratory areas for you to think about those things. Okay, so the next mistake, starting PhD without a research plan or a blueprint. We often think that okay, after starting a PhD, we will think that what we have to do, what work should be done, how we'll do. No, have a clear idea about this in your mind before you even start your PhD. This will be very helpful for you. I'll tell you how. See, if you will have this, you will have a research plan even before you start your PhD. This will help you to get a clear idea about what possible steps or phases in which this work can be carried out. You will have an idea about the tools which can be used and the budget that you need to do this work and the lab in which you can get all these tools and budget. So you will have a better idea about how this work can be done, what I will need to do this work, and how much money do I need to do this work. And also you will be able to forecast the time, that okay, in what time I would be able to finish this work. So having a clear idea will help you in a lot many ways. Okay, the next thing, collecting papers from every source. Oh okay, so yes, so if you just find all of these things useful and you have actually learned something from this, just subscribe to my channel and comment, leave a comment about how you found this useful. So coming back to this, collecting papers from every source. If you will type your topic on this Google search, even on Google Scholar, on the ResearchGate or the like whatever, you will get hundreds of results. But those 100, all of those 100 will not be useful for you. You know, you have to analyze. You have to see that which are useful for you. You need to have that critical thinking about which topic or which research paper is actually useful for you. So don't just go on and collect collect papers from every source. Analyze those. How you will do that? Now, first read the abstract, because abstract will be a short summary of what has been done in that paper. After reading the abstract, you will have an idea about what is being actually done on the basis of that you will be able to decide that whether this work is actually useful for you or not. So don't just go and collect every paper. Just analyze it, and if you found it useful, then only save it or download it in your drive. Don't just have a long list of useless papers. Then the next thing, selecting topic on the basis of someone else's advice. This is a big mistake. See, we might meet someone who will come and tell me ki, why don't you do this work? This work is actually useful. You will also think that this work is actually useful, this can be done, this is a great topic. But use your own mind. PhD is not something that can be done in 1 year. It takes 3 to 4 years, 5 years. So I tell you what, whenever you have to select a topic, you need to look at two things. First is the feasibility, the work that you are trying to do, that whether this work can be done or not. First, the feasibility. The second is your interest. Cause many a times when you are trying to do some work, you will face the failures, you will face some struggles. At that time you might get a little bit or a lot of demotivated. At that time you need to pick yourself up and try it one more time. You need to push yourself. If you have just selected a topic on the basis of somebody else's advice, that that motivation will not come from inside of you. It will not come, because that is an external motivation, not an internal one. Only for the kind of work that you want to do, you will have an internal motivation. So you need to select the topic on the basis of your own interest, not on the basis of what someone has said to you to do, and now you are doing that. Because if you will be doing that on the basis of somebody else's advice, then that motivation will not last too long, and it will die out soon, and you will be soon left with nothing in hand. Okay. The next mistake is to depend on your advisor to tell you to what to read. This happens in the first or the second year. We tell our advisor, okay, tell us the paper to start, from where we can start to read, from where we can start our literature. It's okay to ask him or her for one or two papers, but don't keep on to continue it. This thing should not continue. You should be able to decide by yourself that, okay, this manuscript or this Misna research paper is actually useful for you or not. The advisor may help you in the first or the second year, but after that you have to do it by yourself. You have to decide, you have to analyze about what to read and what not to read. Okay, why this is a mistake? If you will not have this skill inside of you, then until when that advisor will help you? After a point of time, even the advisor will not be available for you. So at that point of time, it will be your skills that is going to help you to just decide about what to read and what not to read. Okay, so don't just depend on your advisor to tell you to what to read. Have this skill by yourself. The ninth mistake is neglecting duty, also called as the teaching assistantship duty. Why? When we are on our TA duty, we get to take the labs of the bachelor's and master's students, right? So this is a very nice time to improve your presentation skills, your interaction skills. Since after your PhD you will go to teach, and at that time, if you will not have that skill of talking to students, of just interacting with them, then that can be a loss for you. So don't just neglect this thing. Use this time to make your skills of how to present, how to talk, and how to take ideas from students. See, students have so much ideas, their brain is filled with ideas, and these ideas may land you into some research work. They can help you. So just go out, talk to them, interact with them, try to teach them and learn from them. Don't just neglect this TA duty. Okay. Now coming on to the financial level mistakes. The first one is that no clear idea of PhD scholarship. Most of the institutions, they have their institutional funding, where a scholarship is being paid by the institution. But when you are working in a lab, at that time you might have to look for an external funding, where you may have to depend on some external agency to get your funding. Get this well in your mind before even you start your PhD. So just continuing from the last point. So before even you start your PhD, you should have a clear idea about this, that how you are going to get your funding. If it is, even if you have to go for external funding, then get all the details in your mind before you even start your PhD. And it's always advisable to look for institutional funding rather than external funding. Okay, so have a clear idea of PhD, because once when you will start your scholarship, when you will start your PhD, you might not get so much time to go for that funding thing, to go and fill those forms, because you will have your classes, you will have your work and all those stuff, and the advisor might not be so much concerned about your funding. He might be concerned more on the work that you are doing than your funding. And remember, you need money, you need that funding. Don't do PhD without funding. You have your life, you have to take care of everything. So always get your funding and then start your PhD. If you don't have funding, don't do PhD, look for some job. Okay, PhD is going to be a tough life. There is going to be so much stresses in it, and if you will not have funding, it will be more stress on you. So it is not at all advisable to do a PhD without funding. First go for a funding, then start your PhD. Otherwise, don't start your PhD. The second mistake is to not file an ITR, an income tax return. I'll tell you what, the amount of scholarship that we get as a part of our PhD is exempted from income tax, but still it is advisable to file an ITR. It is important to file an ITR. Why? It will help you to get a loan, even if in case you want to get a loan for anything, right? It will help you to claim your tax refund. It can act as your income and your address proof. It will also help you during your visa processing, because if you need to go out of your country, then you might need to show your income, right? At that time also this ITR will help you at that stage. So it is always advisable to file an ITR. And moreover, if you fall in that bracket where you need to file an ITR and all that stuff, so it will save you from that penalty. So this is also a really important thing. You need to file an ITR, you need to get those things done. The third is not budgeting your PhD fellowship. See, we all talk about budget, we all talk about things and all that stuff. It's really important, right? So you need to budget. See, you get a very good amount as your fellowship, like around 30 to 40,000. And by the time you start your PhD, you are at that stage of life where you need to think about other things also, like your personal life also, your family life also. So you need to have money. You cannot just go on and spend it everywhere that you want. You need to budget those things. If you are not given a house or by your institute, then you might be living on rent. You will have those rental expenditures, that food expenditures, electricity expenditures, all those things. So budget those things, set amounts, set 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 aside some money, and use the leftover money in a smarter way. What you can do is first to make an emergency fund. See, we don't know when the things might fall, when the things go wrong, we don't know about that. So it is always advisable to make an emergency fund, first thing. The second thing is to buy a health and life insurance, because it is going to help you at the time when you fall sick or something wrong happens to you. So at that time, your health and life insurance is going to help you a lot. So this is the third mistake, third financial level mistake that we all do, is to not buy, is to not properly means budget our PhD fellowship. So with this, I come to the end of the one day free seminar on the things not to do during your PhD. I hope the things talked during this seminar will be useful for you. All of you might have learned some of the things. If you have learned, I would love to hear from all of you. Just subscribe to my channel, and if you have any question in your mind, you can just ask them in the chat section or on the comment box. I'll just be answering all of them. So once again, thank you all, and take care and stay blessed.